Time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Jake Schaff, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. In case you missed it, West Bloomfield recently held their annual Juneteenth Jamboree celebration. Several residents stopped by West Bloomfield parks to spend the day celebrating freedom and unity within the community. And even with the weather having to bring the party inside, that didn't slow anything down, and everyone still had an incredible time out at the event. And I was there to capture all the smiles, the memories, and to hear what Juneteenth means to the residents.
It's a lot of positive energy, and everyone here is willing to learn and understand everything, not just about Juneteenth, but also about what we as African Americans go through on not just on a daily basis.
Oh, it's totally awesome. I wasn't sure. It was a last-minute decision of mine to come to participate along with my other friends here. But I'm so glad I came. Wonderful people, wonderful event.
What is it like to see all the smiling faces out here today, enjoying these festivities and having such a great time?
Oh, it's totally awesome. It's too bad the weather's raining now outside, but we're having a great time inside, and so far I don't see anybody frowning. The kids are having a wonderful time.
It's a great opportunity to see the different people from the diverse communities here just celebrating the actual spirit of the event. With with the recent upturn of events and with the decreasing of DEI, and to make people more aware of the different contributions of the different groups, and just bringing people together more so. I'd say it's a magnet instead of a separator.
And how have you seen this event grow over the last few years, and to see West Bloomfield just celebrate this tradition more and more?
Well, the more that the community become aware of it, that has increased the turnout and the support, and more or less it's been a lot of word of mouth. And once people come and they see the events, they see some of the other organizations here, the community-based organizations that they want to be a part of, it just helps it to grow.
We've had some great things today, great food, great entertainment, and we just had a wonderful dance performance earlier that I understand your daughter was a part of.
Yes, Priya Montgomery. She was a part of the Motor City Dance Factory. I'm very proud of her. I like that she is very knowledgeable of everything that is going on around her, as well as Juneteenth. We make sure that we teach her everything about not only herself, but her heritage and where she come from and her lineage.
How important would you say events like this are for the greater West Bloomfield community?
It's very great, because you need to not only understand the people in your household, you also need to understand the people in your community and be able to understand their feelings and their heart and what they go through.
What do you hope is the biggest thing everybody takes away from being a part of this Juneteenth celebration?
That we need to do our homework and understand that there are a lot of things that have not been exposed to information and the history of all of our cultures, and that the children would ask their own family members to share their legacies and the ancestors' information from their own ancestors, and realize how special it is that they made sacrifices for us to be here today.
Such an incredible event. And if you want to see Civic Center TV's coverage of the Juneteenth celebration, you can head over to our website, civiccentertv.com, or find us on YouTube or Facebook. You can scan the QR code that's on your screen right now if you're watching on Civic Center TV. You can check out the full episode hosted by Tyler Kieft and Thais Leverett to catch everything from the Juneteenth celebration. The incredibly talented Alex Shire is making his 5th appearance at the Village to kick off the Sylvan Sunsets outdoor concert series on Friday, June 27th. Alex is an accomplished musician who even made his way to the Hollywood rounds of American Idol and earned recognition as a top 10 iTunes charting artist. Throughout the summer, Sylvan Table will be keeping the music going with live performances every Monday and Wednesday from 6 to 9 p.m. Mondays will feature the skillful live looper Drew Barrys, a local standout, while Wednesdays spotlight a rotating roster of talented guest musicians. Stop by, enjoy the tunes, and show your appreciation for these amazing collaborations. You can check out the full lineup at sylvantable.com/experiences to take a look at what's ahead throughout the summer and to plan your event to stop by to the amazing Sylvan Sunset Series. If you're passionate about sports and looking for a rewarding way to get involved, West Bloomfield High School has exciting coaching opportunities available. Join Laker Nation and make a lasting impact on our student athletes. The school is currently seeking a varsity head coach for boys lacrosse, as well as a JV head coach for boys soccer. Don't miss this chance to share your expertise, inspire young athletes, and be a part of a proud tradition of teamwork and excellence. You can visit westbloomfieldathletics.com to find out some more info and to see if this job is right for you. I'm sure the kids would love to have you out there. Goldfish Swim School is once again joining the global world's largest swimming lesson, a coordinated effort across 6 continents to raise awareness about water safety and drowning prevention. This impactful event offers free educational sessions featuring hands-on water safety demonstrations like life jackets, bright swimwear, and emergency exit techniques designed for both kids and adults alike. This year's event is set to take place this Thursday, June 26th, from 12:30 to 1:30. And at a time like this, especially with summer now in session, classes like these are more important than ever. You can visit goldfishswimschool.com to learn a little more info about the event. This week is the final week for one of West Bloomfield's most well-known and celebrated firefighters. Byron Turnquist has devoted many years of service to Greater West Bloomfield, 29 years in fact, and has served as a supportive and positive presence throughout the community. This week marks his final week with the fire department as he heads off to enjoy a well-deserved retirement. And Byron Turnquist joins us right now on the Splash Live. Byron, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for those kind words, and I'm happy to be here.
Of course, very, very excited for what's ahead in your future and really, really excited to be talking about your established career here in West Bloomfield. I want to start from the very beginning. What inspired you to pursue a career in firefighting, and what has kept you dedicated to the West Bloomfield Fire Department for so many years?
Well, I mean, going way back, I grew up in the township. My childhood home backed up to Long Lake Road, and my dad kind of had a little fire buff in him, and every time the fire trucks would go by the backyard, if we were available, he'd grab me, and we'd get in the car and go see where they were going. And then a good family friend was a volunteer firefighter in a local community, and kind of continued that spark and got me interested. And I became one of the township's last paid on-call firefighters. I believe it was 1991, maybe 1992. And then I got hired full-time as a career firefighter paramedic today, actually, is my anniversary, in 1996.
Wow, happy anniversary. And it's awesome to see that you've had this love for your profession at a very, very young age. And looking back, the 29 years that you've been with the fire department, what are some of the most memorable moments that you can think of throughout your career?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of reminiscing here in the last couple weeks, and lots of fun stories. Living in the fire station, working at Station 1 for several years. Longtime residents probably remember seeing the firefighters out playing wiffle ball in the parking lot after dinner. And just the camaraderie and how close of a family we were and still are. The firefighters today live with each other, spend probably a third of their lives at the fire station, and it truly is an extended family. And there's tons of great memories from hanging out, watching movies, solving all the world's problems at the back of the pickup truck after dinner, playing wiffle ball. And then there's obviously some of the larger scale incidents that we've responded to over the years. The Heckman apartment fire, most recently the Oakland Hills Country Club fire. We assisted Bloomfield Township there. You obviously never forget. And then there's memories that we just don't really want to talk about, some of the tragedies that have happened in the township that we wish we never see and never experience. But we all do our best to make sure that we are there for our residents and help them get through it as best we can.
That's absolutely right. It's a very rewarding job, but also a very dangerous job. And I would imagine that in the 29 years that you've been with the fire department, that the firefighting profession has changed quite a bit throughout that time period. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, looking at the apparatus, the fire trucks that you see driving up and down the road, we've been very fortunate throughout the township having the community support. We have some outstanding equipment, and seeing how that's changed, how the fire trucks, some will say get better, some will say get a little bit worse, but the technology that's in them, some of the computers that help regulate pump pressures and those things, do help make our jobs easier. And the fire trucks just get, I guess, bigger and better. We had a 100-foot aerial, and most recently we just put in service our new 101-foot aerial. We've been very fortunate to have good equipment and help us do our job over the years.
That's absolutely right, and I got a chance to check out the brand new fire truck with the fire station. It's incredible and is certainly going to be put to a lot of great use throughout the community. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with West Bloomfield Fire Marshal Byron Turnquist, talking about his 29 years of service to the West Bloomfield Fire Department as he prepares to head off into retirement this week. Now, Byron, how do you feel as you prepare to close this chapter after serving the community for so long?
To be honest, it's a weird feeling. There's a point in your career where it's just you feel like the time is right to move on and let the next generation take the reins, and I think we're there. I have bittersweet feelings. I'm not ready to necessarily hang up the helmet and give up the job, but the time is just right to let that next generation move in and take the Fire Marshal Division to the next level.
Very, very interesting, and you're absolutely right. It's sometimes you just know it in your gut that you can tell that the moment is right. And you just talked about look ready for the next generation of firefighters. What advice would you give to the next generation of firefighters starting their careers?
Again, we've had outstanding community support throughout my entire career in the township. The public safety millages, just day to day talking to residents throughout the community, outstanding support. And I hope that all the new firefighter paramedics are open enough to talk and listen and learn from the residents that have been here for a long time, share their concerns, be there for them and help where we can. And just keep your eyes open and learn a lot, learn as much as you can, and have a safe and healthy career.
That's absolutely right. And there's a lot of great things that they can learn being a part of a community like this. And community plays a role in so many things. And you've been such a staple throughout the West Bloomfield community over the past few years. How has working closely with the West Bloomfield community influenced you outside of work?
Oh, that's a tough question. I'm really never outside of work. That phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning. My wife is not going to miss that. But that going into retirement, that's probably the one big thing I'm looking forward to is being able to take a break and kind of separate. But again, it's been an outstanding career. Been very fortunate, again, working for the community, being there for the community, trying to do good things, trying to be proactive, working with our residents, working with our developers, working with our business owners. It's going to carry on. The future of the Fire Marshal Division, the guys that are moving in the deputy fire marshal moving into my role. He and I are on the same page on a lot of things, and the transition should go very smoothly. But we're all thrilled to be here and try to make the community a better place for everybody.
And that's what everybody wants. And everybody wants to make sure that this community stays as safe as it possibly can. Byron, what would you say has been the most rewarding part of being a firefighter and a public servant right here in West Bloomfield?
Most recently, I've been doing fire investigations throughout my career, all 29 years. And I've been at a lot of I've been at most of the fires that happen in the township. And kind of very happy with the fact that, and it's not just me, it's everybody in the division, that we're truly there and a resource for our homeowners, or our business owners. Whenever there's a fire or a major loss to your business or your property, your life gets turned upside down. And we see this all the time. We've been at a lot of fires. It's normal for us. But our residents and business owners, this is, most of the time they're one and only major catastrophe that they've had to deal with. And we've done a good job of shifting gears and making sure that we're there for our residents and our homeowners to walk them through the process of dealing with the insurance company or the restoration company, and just being a sounding board when they have a question if this makes sense or if this is right or should we be doing something else. And we focused on that to try to smooth that process out and get our homeowners and business owners back to the way they were before the incident happened. And I'm really proud that we're there for everybody to just try to make it better, even after the fire.
And you should be very proud of everything that you've accomplished throughout this time. Now, you are retiring, but you're not leaving the community. As you said, you are a West Bloomfield resident. How do you hope the community will remember your services after you retire?
I grew up in the township. I'm not a township resident anymore, but that's okay. I will, again, I've got lots of friendships and the West Bloomfield Fire Department, it's been my family. So we'll still be around, still touch base and check in and make sure things are going smoothly and be there. We're working hard the last couple of weeks trying to smooth over that transition to projects that I've been involved in, get everybody up to speed so they know where everything's at. And there's going to be things that are missed and questions that are going to need to be answered. And I'm always going to be available for everybody, and I'll still check in on my family. I'm not going to be the long lost relative that nobody sees ever again.
That's great that we're still going to be hearing from you. For those just joining us, once again, we're talking with Byron Turnquist, the Fire Marshal for the West Bloomfield Fire Department, talking about his many years of service and his impending retirement taking place this week. Now, Byron, what are your plans or hopes for life after retirement?
Lots of ideas. I keep telling my wife, who tells me I need a job so I don't bother her while she's at home. A lot of open ideas, lots of thoughts, and talking to people that I've worked with throughout my years here. I keep telling people that I really need to grow up and decide which way I want to go. So right now I'm planning on enjoying the summer. Fireworks season is quickly approaching, and I haven't really enjoyed the summer holiday in some time because we've been busy with the professional fireworks shows. So I'm just looking to, enjoy a month or so off, and then I'm sure I'll land somewhere and most likely still stay in this field, whether it's fire investigations or plan reviews or something along those lines.
Hey, there's going to be a lot of great stuff taking place this summer. You're going to have a lot of fun throughout the next couple of months. Byron, one quick question before we wrap things up. Is there anything you'd like to say to your colleagues or the residents of West Bloomfield as you prepare to step away?
I'd just like to thank everybody that I've worked with within the fire department, the police department, township hall, even the Tri-Cities have been great to work with. I'm going to miss everybody and wish them all the best and hope to not become a stranger.
You certainly will never be a stranger here, Byron. Thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live, and thank you so much for everything that you've done for the greater West Bloomfield community.
again, thank you for the kind words, and we're always here.
Absolutely. Enjoy your retirement, Byron. 29 years of incredible service to the West Bloomfield Fire Department, all put to very, very good use. We congratulate Byron on everything that he's done for the community. As the Orchard Lake Fine Arts Show is just a few short weeks away, we here at Civic Center TV are taking the time to highlight some of the incredible and highly talented artists you will be seeing at this year's show. One of those artists is Crucifixia Grillo, a masterful multimedia artist who integrates paint strokes, line, color, and texture, describing her creative process as musical in its rhythm and balance. Yesterday, our very own Tyler Keefe sat down for an interview with Crucifixia to hear about her creative process and what her involvement in the Fine Arts Show means to her.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, happy to have you on. You come to the Orchard Lake Fine Arts Show in late July, bringing a variety of different pieces that all have their origins in some abstract expressionism. Tell us a little bit about your process and what art you create.
Yeah, so my process starts with actually, I'm a very, when I go to different places in the world, or I live in Florida half the year, so around me, I get my inspiration from that. I also get it from being a female, and I like to show the empowerment of that and how we can explore and move forward with our lives and still have that feminine quality. So that kind of is a projection and cohesive to my work, as well as like travels. I've traveled and lived in Italy. So that really embodies the person that I am as an artist and why I do it.
And when we mentioned that these artists sometimes come from all over the world or have influences from all over the world, you mentioned you lived in Florence, and that had a pretty big impact from my notes on your artistic development, and ultimately it reflects in many of your pieces. How did your time in Florence have influence over the art that you create?
Well, I would have to say, because it's more hands-on and not just literature, I feel like I was able to, I seen where Michelangelo lived. I went to the piazza. I actually took my 2 young teenagers with me at the time. I went back to school when I turned 40 years old, and I told them, give me the highest degree you got. So during my undergrad studies, I ended up going to Florence, and it influenced me in the way where, like I said, hands-on and being able to see in the sculptures and feel it. And it's almost like I gained a freedom of, I can say whatever I want through my artwork, because in my mind, I feel that what an artist has to say, everybody else wants to say it, but we're the vessel to do so for everybody. So that's how.
And so from Florence to Florida to Michigan, so many of these places, they have influence in all of your pieces. But you've also described your art as being in part musical too. So how does music or that sort of musical rhythm or melody play a role in how you design the art you're bringing to Orchard Lake?
Yeah, that's a good question, Tyler. So when I began to do my process, I actually put my paints, I'm in my studio, so I put my paints, I consider it like a symphony where I could paint without even having to know visually where the colors are. And so it creates like this symphony to where it enables me to process the work prolifically, as well as it's like I'm singing to my own beat, so it's like a symphony and just taking your own music and taking that and bringing it into my world of art. So that's kind of how I feel a symphony is, where it's like cohesive. The music is just cohesive, but everybody kind of works together and it creates like a symphony, So that's what the way I look at it. And that's how I feel about it.
The Orchard Lake Fine Arts Show returns to Powers and Daly Roads, just off of Orchard Lake in West Bloomfield, July 26th and 27th. That's a Saturday and a Sunday. Many of the artists that will be there will be featured on our show in the coming weeks, and today that includes Crucifixia Grillo, who joins us on the Splash Live, a mixed media artist who spends her time both in Florida and close to home right here in the state of Michigan. Crucifixia, when you ultimately come to the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show in late July, people walk up to your stand, they see your art. What are the immediate feelings you hope are invoked in them, or what they take from viewing and hopefully purchasing your pieces?
Well, I'll tell you what, Tyler, because I want to show you this,
Sure.
I do mixed media, and I have a few types of bodies of work, right? So the first, one body of work consists of my females, which are here. And so these are in the interior of my tent. And so when they walk in there, I feel like they have like an empowerment as a female or as a male as well, but empowerment towards the female. And then I also have my sculptures here, which that takes that as well. So if you see how I've taken my old world from being in Italy, and I've taken that and I make my sculptures, so that embodies the woman as well. And then, Tyler, I have back here, this is an actual one I just finished, and it is from a picture I had taken years ago in Florence. I'm going to be heading to Italy again this year, as well as I have artwork in Florence, and it's going to go to Milan and Rome. But this one here is indigenous to wood itself. I have created on red cedar, and the red cedar, what it does is it absorbs the paint very well, but each one of my edges, I want people to know, and when they see that I use high quality, because I feel like my artwork deserves to be on something that is meaningful. So the wood that I use is red cedar, and I take and break all of these edges, everything here, and then it goes in onto, I piece it all together, kind of like a puzzle. So I want people to see and recognize that I'm very diverse in my artwork. You know, yes, it's about the female when you first walk in, but it's the female who travels to all these places. So cohesively, I feel like that embodies, that. So that's what I feel. I feel like it's a freedom. I just feel free. I feel free when I make my artwork, because it's my own world, and then I can share it with others. And I want it to touch their heart, So that's why I'm here on this earth.
And that's such a big part of what art plays in people's lives. It's exploration, it's creativity, it's relaxation, but there's also that nurturing element to it. How much of a factor do you think that plays, not only in your design, but ultimately when you go to these art shows and you're interfacing with customers, ultimately their appreciation of what you've created?
Great question. So I have a client that I've been in touch with from last year, from this actual show in West Bloomfield at the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. And since then, a wonderful person. She purchased quite a few of my pieces. I went to Fort Lauderdale. I met up with her. She made me dinner. It was great. And then as I was there, she decided she wanted another piece. I commissioned one for her as well. So I am very personable. And when people buy my pieces, I'm hoping that they will understand that they're buying a piece of me, and therefore their heart and life are going to be touched by what I created. And I know that somehow it's almost as if it was made for them, So that's what I vision in my mind.
We only have a limited amount of time for these interviews on the Splash Live. You will have unlimited time at the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show to explore so much art from so many incredible artists at one of the top 100 art shows in America, as voted 12 times by Sunshine Artist Magazine. The Orchard Lake Fine Art Show, July 26th and 27th in West Bloomfield Township. Joining us on the Splash today is Crucifixia Grillo, who's one of the many artists you will see there. And Crucifixia, we thank you so much for your time today and showing us your art.
Thank you so much, Tyler. I hope to see everybody there. It's a great show.
Kurshafisha is right. It is a great show. And the more and more of these artists we have on the show, that we've had on the show so far, and we're going to have in the coming weeks, it just makes me all the more excited. I can't wait to see her out there, all of the other incredible artists, and I can't wait to see you out there as well for the Orchard Lake Fine Arts Show. We're just getting started here on the Splash Live. Plenty of other big stories and topical stories to get into right after this. Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Hi, I'm Senator Rosemary Bayer, and I want to say congratulations to Civic Center TV for 1 million views on YouTube. I just want to thank all the people at Civic Center TV for being such a great community partner for me and the entire community, for bringing us serious news and some seriously fun stories all about our community directly to us. I'm State Senator Rosemary Bayer, and I'm proud to be 1 in a million.
Can't be late to your own party. Hurry up! Hurry up! Ah! Do not cut me off. It's her fault. Her fault. Ah! You kidding me? Honk, honk, honk! Honk, honk, honk! Honk, honk! Late! Out of my way! Honk! I hate construction.
You should have slowed down.
My party.
You wouldn't act this way in a store, so don't act this way on the road. Driving slower saves lives.
Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen. And now, back to the Splash, live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Jake Sheff, going over all of the biggest news and updates from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. With summer officially underway, it means it's prime gardening season, and everyone will be heading outside to keep their gardens up to date and looking beautiful. But gardens have many purposes with our wildlife in the community, especially our bees and pollen makers. Making your garden bee-friendly this summer is a top priority to keep everything in line. Bees in the D co-founder Brian Peterson Roast recently joined us on the Splash Live to tell us what we can do.
Thank you for being here, Brian.
It's always great to be with you. Thank you.
We love to talk about it. So let's just get into some of like the generalization of what we're going to talk about, right? First and foremost, what are the most important elements to include in a bee-friendly garden during the summer months?
Natives, natives, natives. It's so important that we plant some native flowers for our native bees and our native pollinators like our butterflies.
Okay, so let's get into a little bit more specifics. Are there any specific native plants or flowers that you recommend that are based right here in Michigan?
Well, I have a few favorites myself. I love Gaillardia, which is blanket flower. I love the black-eyed Susans. There's the cone flower. I mean, the list goes on and on. We actually have a lot more native flowers than what people think, and they're actually extremely beautiful. And so they not only help our pollinators, but they make your yard look a lot more beautiful.
Being joined right now by co-founder from Bees in the D, Brian Peterson Roast. We were just recently talking about how we can make our homes and yards more eco-friendly for bees and native plants in general. Just picking up from that conversation, Brian, one thing that I want to ask you about, the different types of bees. Can you just tell us the difference between maybe a native bee and a honey bee? Is there a difference? To break that down, please.
Yeah, great question. A lot of people don't realize this, but in Michigan alone, we have over 460 different species of bees. But we tend to just think of our bees like the honey bees because they do provide us with honey. But our native bees, like some of the bumblebees or the mason bees or the leafcutter bees, are extremely important to our ecosystem.
Wow. Okay. So I'm gonna be honest. Just like the average person, I would think any bee that I see is producing honey. They're all big. I mean, they're all the same. I do see bigger bees that are, bigger and louder than other ones, but I would just never know. So with that being said, how can we ensure as gardeners that we are supporting both the honeybees and the native bees?
Like I said earlier, by planting native, the native bees have more of a symbiotic relationship with those plants, but they also do benefit our honeybees and some of our other insects that we may think are bees, but they're not actually bees at all, like our wasp and our hornets. So the group is even bigger if you include those wasp and those hornets as well.
Woo! Now we're going down a dangerous path. I am scared of those those wasps and those hornets, but I'm pretty sure they serve a purpose though, right? But let's kind of get into the other part. So for the people who are aware of pollination in their yards and kind of do their best to set up pollinator gardens, what are some common mistakes you might have seen or heard of when people try to create these pollinator gardens, and how can they avoid those mistakes?
Well, weeds can become a big problem. And so you have to kind of, especially at the beginning of putting these plants in, kind of be on top of things to keep those weeds from overcrowding those natives. But that's the great thing about natives. They actually are used to our climate here in Michigan, and so they don't need quite as much care as maybe some of the annuals that we plant that need to be watered quite continuously. Our natives are designed to maybe go through a little bit of a drought. And then what's nice about them is they spread and they come back every year. They're perennials, so you don't have to keep planting them each year. So I guess that's not really mistakes. That's just kind of the benefits of having the natives.
Yeah, good note to have. Good note to have in our mind when we are preparing our pollinator gardens in general. Okay, so one thing I do want to kind of bring up for our gardeners and people who want to keep maybe pests and other insects away from different parts of their garden. What are the dangers of using some pesticides or herbicides, even those that are labeled bee-friendly or pollinator-friendly?
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes we want to take the easy route and we want to use some sprays or some pesticides to get rid of some of the pest insects or even some of the plants that we don't like. But what we kind of forget is they don't necessarily target just those pest insects or just those plants that are kind of weeds or plants that we don't want. And so it can then affect the whole ecosystem, and those pollinators can take those poisons back to their nest, or it can unfortunately kill them as well.
It's just so much that we got to be aware of when it comes to that. We have to be so gentle when it comes to our nature. Sometimes we just think of nature as just being completely sustainable and just continuously just growing and just rebuilding itself, and that's not always the case. We can damage, sometimes permanently or just long-term damage, a lot of the things that nature provides us, and that can easily affect the ecosystem. So I'm glad you kind of broke that down as well. With me right here live on The Splash, by the way, co-founder of Bees in the D, Brian Peterson Rose, just talking about bees, native bees, the difference between honeybees and native bees, and also native plants and how we can best prepare our pollinator gardens. Just a couple things I want to get across from you before we let you go over. Are bees more prone to living and making their homes in the sunnier areas, the shaded areas? Like what certain garden layouts or features are more inviting to bees?
Yeah, bees like the sun. They love the heat.
Really?
But it kind of makes sense because that's also where most of the flowers grow the most successfully as well.
Okay.
And so they're going to be in that nice hot sun partnership. So yeah, they prefer the sunny locations, although they will go into shady locations to find some pollen and nectar from some of our plants that may grow in a little bit more of a shady location. But yeah, the sun is the preferred spot.
Got you. It would make sense. I mean, I prefer the shade and the hot sun, but they're built a little bit different than we are. So besides that, what are some a few other impactful actions individuals can take to help bees in our community, maybe even beyond planting?
Water is so important. It's the essential for life. And so by having water baths or a bowl with rocks in it that allow our pollinators to come and get a drink, it can be a huge help for them as well. But I do want to caution you, if you have standing water, it also does attract some of our pest insects like mosquitoes. So you want to keep that water changed so that you don't help the mosquito population along as well. But water is definitely something that our pollinators need. And then you've already brought up, just avoid those pesticides, avoid those herbicides that can be harmful to our pollinators.
100%. I can say it myself, Brian, but it means so much more when it always comes from an expert, and we appreciate that. I know we ran through a lot of different topics. Anything else that you want to give out to our community, our gardeners in the West Bloomfield community, before we let you go?
No, I just want to add that we love our partnership with West Bloomfield. We've already did our Beekeeper for a Day tour, which was so much fun to get some of the community members in the hives. And I just would encourage you to continue to watch and follow some other events that we have coming up. We probably are doing again our Honey Sommelier event a little bit later into the season, which is quite a unique event where you get to learn to smell and taste different honeys, much like wines. And so it's always fun for us to get to do that. I know the Pollinator Palooza is coming up. So all kinds of fun things that we get to be a part with West Bloomfield Parks especially.
Yeah, learn a little bit more about nature. Treat these bees differently when you know a little bit more about them. That's what I'm taking away from it. But I thank you so much again for your time and your knowledge. Once again, co-founder of Bees in a D, Mr. Brian Peterson Rose. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Important ways to keep your gardens up to date and safe for everyone and everything in the community. But we appreciate Brian Peterson Rose for stopping by and for sharing this information right here on the Splash Live. Greater West Bloomfield loves its volunteers, and a couple out of Walled Lake is among our community's most active givers of their time. Patty and Tony Soma are beloved volunteers in Walled Lake schools, one of the several districts educating our community. And you have also seen them giving their time at events such as the Heroes Appreciation Breakfast. Now they have received their due recognition as Volunteer Community Action Awardees from the Walled Lake Consolidated School District. And both of them recently joined us on the Splash Live to tell us about this incredible honor.
Patty, Tony, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to have you both on. Patty, I'll start with you. What inspired you and Tony to get involved with the Oakland Livingston Human Service Agency, otherwise known as OLHSA?
Well, Ulsa and I have been associated many years. It started when I started going to meetings, and then it just snowballed from there until I joined their board of directors. And my segment is I represent senior citizens. They do so much for so many people. It's an agency that serves, it's one of 27 community action agencies in the state of Michigan. There's over 1,000 throughout the country. And they began in 1964 with the poverty plan with then President Johnson, with his war on poverty. And basically there are 80 programs that serve from cradle to grave. There are a lot of people in need, and we see positive results for what we do, and it just spurs us on to do more and do more.
And Patty, I'll continue with you. A big congratulations to both you and Tony on receiving this honor. We know that there are so many people in need in our community, and our volunteers in Greater West Bloomfield, all across these several communities that make up that moniker, they give their time because they know that there's a need there, and they want to help other people, including their neighbors right here in their community. So for you and for Tony, how did you feel when you learned that you were being honored by OLSA for your hundreds of hours of volunteer service?
Surprised. Surprised, shocked, humbled. There was no end goal in sight when we started volunteering. And we both sit on the board to this day. And it was a surprise. It was a delight. It was quite an honor. It's just such an honor. It's an honor to represent this agency that has such a group of dedicated employees that it's just an honor.
And Tony, I want to go to you too, because both of you have contributed so much of your time and energy into helping people through OLSA, and you've given over 200 volunteer hours throughout your time with this organization. What have been some of the projects for you that have been the most profound, that you've been involved in putting in those 200 plus volunteer hours?
Well, the big thing, besides being on the board, we team up with OLSA for their Walk for Warmth. That's a couple of their biggest fundraisers. They have it in Livingston County and in Oakland County. And what that does is provide funds for those individuals who cannot afford their heating during the winter. So those are the two big things that we do for OLSA. Besides being on the board, Patty's also chair of the Older Adult Action Committee, and I'm on that with her as well.
Yeah, a big part of that, as you mentioned, is fundraising. Events like the campaigns like the Walk for Warmth. You've helped to raise over $72,000. And that's no small feat for grassroots fundraising in any organization. So now, how have you been able to rally that kind of support from other like-minded people within your organization, but also others out in the community that maybe aren't as aware that there's this sort of need throughout our local area?
A lot of it through social media, but then also working with OLSA. We're on the committee for the Walk for Warmth for Oakland. So we just get the word out by any means possible.
And Patty, for you on this side, Tony mentioned the Walk for Warmth campaign. We know this is something that is very close to your heart as well. What drives your passion for this particular campaign in particular, in addition to all the other work that you do with the Oakland Livingston Human Service Agency?
I think that people don't realize that you may have a neighbor that is in need. Probably within 10 minutes of our house, there's someone that this winter may not be able to afford their heating bill, or for the water resource program, has a water heater that's going on the blink. But for Walk for Warmth, you need to keep people warm in a Michigan winter. You can't have a gas stove running. You're endangering your life. So basically, these funds are being raised and they're targeted just to keep the citizens' heat on.
And it's important work that's being done. It's an important initiative within all the work that's being done through the Oakland Livingston Human Service Agency, otherwise known as OLSA. Two of the most prolific volunteers are with us on the Splash Live today, Patty Holland-Soma and Tony Soma, who were the recipients of their Volunteer Community Action Award for 2025 for over 200 hours of volunteer service, raising tens of thousands of dollars for their projects as well, and continuing to be very passionate members of the volunteer community here in Greater West Bloomfield. Going forward, Patty, I'll start with you. What are some of the upcoming projects or goals that you hope the community can be made aware of, that you're working on and they can also contribute to in the near future to help their neighbors?
Okay, I just want to point out we were one of 5 volunteer winners at the luncheon in Lansing. And there were some consumer winners as well, and those were very heartstring pulling stories of people that have overcome outstanding odds to come out on the other side. Basically, there is a golf tournament coming up in September. We're gearing up for Walk for Warmth 2026, which is in early spring next year. And basically just keep flyers going, keep social media going. The Older Adult Advisory Council has a Facebook page where we post things for our audience. If you know someone in need, have them get a hold of the agency or another agency. But if you're in need, make a call. There are people out there who will help.
And Tony, I want to go to you too before we let the both of you go today. I want to thank you both for your time once again. But Tony, for those that may be looking to get involved and they want to help out in the community, they want to volunteer. I know that what tends to be a bit of a blockage for them at the onset is they don't know how to get started, how to take those first steps. What's your advice for people that want to take a leap into volunteerism in their community?
If they want to get involved with OSA like we are, and it's a great organization. They have over 80 committees that are helping people from children to grandparents. I wish I had the phone number right in front of me. I'm sorry that I don't, but they can easily look that up and give them a call and just let them know where can I help? There's so many different parts of their organizations where they need help. So it's a simple phone call could really get them on the right track.
More information about the organization can be found to search Oakland Livingston Human Service Agency for even more. 2 of their most prolific volunteers that were just awarded along with 4 other winners from throughout our community for their work with OLSA. Join us on The Splash today. Patty Holland-Soma and Tony Soma with us on The Splash Live. Thank you both for your time and congratulations once again.
Thank you so much.
Such incredible work from such incredible volunteers. We thank Patty and Tony for taking the time to talk with us here on The Splash Live. We're going to take another quick break and jump into some more stories and news right after this. Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
So much is happening in your community. Join Jake, Tyler, and Kevin for local events and developments on The Splash Live, weekdays at 10 a.m. on CivicCenterTV.com, YouTube, and Facebook.
Mom, did you really need to buy 2 can openers for our emergency kit?
I can't help it. They're 2 for 1. What's this?
We need to keep our family communication plan safe in case of an emergency.
Thanks, Tita.
We should think ahead to keep Mom and Dad safe when it floods this year. I've got an evacuation route loaded in my phone.
I've got an updated list of Dad's meds.
And I've got just what we need to get them to take this seriously.
Start a conversation with your family and plan together for emergencies.
Bringing you stories and memories from Kego Harbor, Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Jake Schaff. Welcome back to the show. Now, considering that we are currently underway in summer, a lot of people are probably thinking that maybe now is the time to pick up a brand new skill. And one of those skills that is very popular all throughout Greater West Bloomfield is pickleball. And Pickle Rage is going to be offering some intro to pickleball classes throughout the summer months. And by the way, Pickle Rage is also soon to be celebrating their 1-year anniversary right here in Greater West Bloomfield. The general manager, Jesse Francisco, recently came on The Splash Live to tell us more.
Thanks for being here, Jesse.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so first and foremost, congratulations. If I'm not mistaken, celebrating 1 year of success.
Yeah,
so I want to
year,
say congratulations.
Yeah,
So
July, middle of July, we opened up last year.
There we go.
Opened it up for, I think, 2 weeks. It was free for everyone. Everyone came in. We had well over 1,000 people, come through the doors each week. And that built into a really good membership base and a player base through the fall and the winter. Obviously, people are a little more inclined to play outdoors, take advantage of that weather that we get in these short bursts. But our serious players still kind of stick around and get their games in. But yeah, it's been an exciting year.
Yeah, man. So let's just talk about it just in reflection through the year. How do you feel like the pickleball community has responded to Pickle Rage?
Oh, it's been great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really they've embraced what we do here, and we didn't come in with an iron fist of like, this is how we're going to run things and this is how Pickle Ridge does it. We listen to the community, we listen to our players, and we kind of shape our programming and our schedules based around their needs, their wants, and I think they're receptive to that. They really feel like this is a part of their club, or they are a part of this club and the direction that we go. So yeah, it's been great.
No, that's good to hear, man. First and foremost, love to see it. I drive past there. I'm going to have to make my stop in there, too. I'm a little bit intimidated by this new sport, but I'm seeing a lot of people are embracing it. People are loving it and getting out there and getting active, so that's the most important part. But I'm hearing that you also have classes up there. Not surprised at all, pickleball classes. Let's just walk through some of these. What can people expect if they were to sign up for one of these pickleball classes?
Well, let's take you for example, and I didn't know if that was a planned segue, but it works out perfect actually. I'm still amazed by the amount of people that come through our doors almost daily and just say, "Hey, I've never played before. I really want to play. How do I get playing?" Because just when I think, I'm like, okay, we've tapped into everybody. Like everybody plays this. It still is just picking up so much steam. So it's been exciting. But what we do is we do this intro to pickleball class. So it's designed for players like yourself. You're like, man, I have no idea what I want to do or how to do this. I have no way to go about it. I know I don't want to look silly going out there and doing it. And just like any sport, you want to feel comfortable when you're getting into it and know just some of the rules. So that's what we do. And through the spring and the summer, we're putting a really big push on the intro to pickleball classes. Our website should be updated, if not by the end of the day, very shortly. A very quick and easy way to register and get information on intro to pickleball. Okay. That's a free 1-hour clinic, and that just introduces you to the game a little bit. From there, you would go into what we call our beginner series clinics, and that's a 101, 201, 301, 401 level. You may have to hang around in the 101 a couple times just till you get those skill sets down. Then you move up to the next skill set. I find, and this is kind of why we did it, is with these outdoor courts that are just so popular, and it can be, and you use the word intimidating. You're like, hey, I want to play pickleball, and you got this paddle you got on Amazon, or you borrowed it from your buddy. And you go out there and you have no idea, and you see these players playing, that have been playing for a year or playing, even 6 months. And you're like, I can't, I don't want to do that. So we offer kind of like this safe haven and embrace all these new intro players. Like, look, you can learn your game here with other players that are on your skill set. And then you progress together. So you build your own community. So I'm very excited to build up this next crop of pickleball players and welcome them into our family here.
Let's go. And you know what? I'm glad you just said that, because that's great for a segue. I want to ask you for a question coming up. But with me right here live on the Splash, by the way, General Manager for Pickle Rage in West Bloomfield, right there on Orchard Lake Road, by the way, Jesse Francisco, just talking about being about a year in business right here in service in our community, and just talk about some of these Pickle Rage pickleball classes as well. Now, I want to talk about the people that are going through there and actually playing pickleball, right? I don't know who I would expect to be there. Maybe I would expect like big athletic young people, but just talk about some of the trends that you're seeing in people who are signing up for these classes and coming through and playing pickleball.
Well, I tell you, I got whooped by about a 65-year-old woman the other day, and I mean whooped. So it doesn't matter. We have, one of the other things we do here about building this culture is we do a series of junior clinics and junior, I don't really call them camps, but it's just places that parents can bring their kids in. We teach a holistic way of teaching and teach them the right way to do it, teach them good sportsmanship. And that starts as early as age 6. So, I mean, we have them in here that young. And then we go all the way, I'd say off the top of my head, the oldest player, mid-70s.
Ooh,
You know,
let's go.
I mean, you get a lot of the sport is transitioning. You know, it's a lot harder hitters. It's a faster game. But there's a defense for that. You know, I would say the majority of my group of players is what I would call my advanced intermediates. That's a rating, you know, from a 3.5 to just on the cusp of a 4.0. That's kind of where the majority of my players lie. And that's all ages and demographics. There is no, I can look at somebody and say, oh, you'd be a great pickleball player, because it just doesn't matter.
And I think that's very helpful too for people who are just beginning or interested. That way they can't say it's all big muscular people, athletic, or it's all young people there, or it's all women, or it's all men. It's like, no, there's people of all scales in every different type of demographic coming there and being successful at it as well. Jesse, while I do have you here, let's just go ahead and look ahead about the 1 year celebration. You said July is when you'll officially be looking at 1 year. Any special events, promotions, celebration planned for the anniversary?
Yeah. So July 19th, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's just one day after what our official opening was a year ago. So it's July 19th. We're gonna have some music. We'll cater in some food. We'll have free an open play format from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're going to have a Kona ice truck out there, so you can grab a little snow cone or a shredded ice there before you take off. It's just going to be a fun atmosphere. We'll have raffles that go on throughout the day. It's basically just come in, play pickleball, have some lunch, grab a Kona ice, listen to some music, hang out with some friends. Hopefully you win some prizes. And really, it's just a thank you to all of the players that play with us regularly and the ones that just swing by once in a while, because they're all equally important to us.
Love that, man. And looking forward to, and congratulations again on 1 year's success right here in our community. We appreciate that. And just while I have you, just lastly, anybody who is interested in pickleball may have never come. This is your opportunity to sell to them. Why should they come to Pickle Rage for their classes?
It's just, I mean, it starts with our courts and our surfaces. It's a cushion X surface. It's easier on the hips, easier on the joints. We have 3 certified pickleball coaches that can take all that range from all the way to I've never held a paddle to your advanced 4.0 and plus players. So we're here for everyone. We provide an experience for everyone. And it's just from my staff to the members that we have here, everybody's just welcoming, warm, inviting you into the sport because it grows the sport everybody's passionate about. I challenge you, if you've never played before and you find someone that plays, just ask them, be like, oh, you play pickleball, what do you think about it? And just watch the way they light up and watch the way they get excited. It's nothing I've seen before. It's crazy.
No, that's a fact, though. Everybody I talk to about it, they're so excited, so much energy comes out of them, and I appreciate that. I love that.
You gave them a lotto ticket. Like the way they light up about it, like, oh, how long you been playing? Just a month, but I'm addicted. And like, man, all right.
Yeah.
And that's how I was. You know, to be honest, I started this and I never held a paddle. I just kind of selfishly did it for the business end of it. Because I wanted to get on this ride. And now, man, at least 4 days a week I'm playing.
That's
crazy.
At
least I try to get some work in, but it's too hard. I got my courts right out there.
Yeah, no, and it's good. Like I said, it's giving us an excuse to get out and get some physical activity going, and that's something that's going to be beneficial.
I mean, to be honest, the difference between outdoor and indoors, my surface is never wet. It's never windy in here. It's always 69 degrees, So you beat that heat. There's no sunshine blaring in your eyes. You're not going to get sunburned because we got to watch that up here. So it's ideal. It's perfect conditions, perfect courts, perfect conditions, and you can't beat it.
No, you selling it, Jesse. Hey, thank you so much again for your time and your information, and hopefully we get more people out there to Pickle Rage West Bloomfield. General Manager for Pickle Rage West Bloomfield, Jesse Francisco. We appreciate you.
Hey, take care. Thanks for having me.
There's fun everywhere you look in Greater West Bloomfield. You just got to get out and enjoy it. But that's going to do it for us today here on the Splash Live. Big thank you to all of our guests and for everybody on the Splash Live team for helping to make this show possible. I've been your host, Jake Schaff. Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.